It's another week of Take the Lead. Starting today's parade, we're worshiping God who leads us. Stand up with me and make sure you grab your noisemakers. Let's go!
Friends, today is such a fabulous day, isn't it? Everything seems to be working out well with the planning, and I'm so excited to start cleaning up the park in a few days. I've been working really hard with planning and talking to my friends and my parents so things go well. But now that I'm here, let's see what's new with all of you. Awesome! I have a comment from Cool Friend.
Hey Callie, I was wondering if you could help me with a little problem. I said something really unkind to a friend. I'm pretty sure I hurt her feelings. What should I do?
Oh my, that's a good question. I mean, I've said some not so nice things before that probably hurt some people's feelings. So I totally understand wanting to make things right again. Maybe today's Bible story can help.
It's time for our Bible story. Our story today is about a man named Samson. And one thing you need to know about Samson is that he was strong. I mean, super strong. God had given him this super strength to fight for God's people. Another thing you need to know about Samson, the thing that all his enemies wish they knew, is the secret to his strength. It was his hair. Who would have guessed that? But it was true. If he cut his hair, he would lose his strength. It's not because he had magic hair, though. It was because Samson's long hair was a symbol of how much he loved God. So he was strong because God was with him. One more thing you need to know about Samson. He was in love with a girl named Delilah. Sadly, Delilah didn't feel the same way about Samson. So she made a deal with Samson's enemies. If she found out the secret to his super strength and told them, they would pay her lots of money. So Delilah asked Samson what his secret was. Samson knew that sharing this secret would be a big mistake. So 3 times he told her it was something else, until Delilah finally wore Samson out. He was so tired of her asking that he gave in and told her the secret. He had made a big mistake. His enemies captured him and they did lots of mean things to him. Later, Samson's enemies were having a party to celebrate getting the best of their strongest foe. They brought Samson out to make fun of him in person. Samson prayed to God. He had learned from his terrible mistake and now prayed that God would give him strength once again so he could knock down the pillars he was resting against and bring down the house, literally. God heard Samson and was with him. Even though he had made a mistake, God gave him strength to bring down the house. Samson reminds us that we all make mistakes, but God never leaves us, even when we mess up. You can always be sure God helps me learn from my mistakes.
That story was so very helpful. Samson, big, strong Samson, God gave him such a great gift, but he did the wrong thing and made a huge mistake. He probably wished he hadn't done that. I guess we learned today that anyone can make mistakes. But what should we do after? Anytime we do something that's not right, we should say sorry and learn to do the right thing the next time. So friends, you can start by saying sorry, then giving your friends some time to forgive you. And now that you know, you can choose to be kinder next time. God helps me learn from my mistakes, and I'm sure this won't happen again. Well, gotta run, friends. Thanks for tuning in today and growing with me. Peace out.
When my world feels like it's shaking, when my heart feels like it's breaking, walking over waves can be hard to do. Take my hand, you're the hero, Jesus. You're the one who never leaves
kids. This is Miss Nancy, and today we're going to be talking about one of the leaders in Israel that he was really strong. Hey, show me your muscles. Have you got big muscles? I mean, I don't really, but maybe you do. But we're going to be talking about Samson. He had really big muscles. And the way that had worked out was, it turned out that his mama, before he was born, she couldn't have any children. And the angel of the Lord came and told her, you know what? You're going to have a son, and he's going to be very special. He's going to need to make a vow to God to serve him all of his life. And I never want you to cut his hair, ever. From the minute he's born, never cut his hair, because that's where his strength is going to come from God. So the mama said, oh, this is really cool. Okay. And so she did have a son, and they named him Samson, and they never cut his hair. And he did make a vow to God to serve him all his days. And one day when he was grown up, he was walking through a field, and a lion came out. Oh my goodness sakes. And was he scared? No. He took hold of that lion, and get this, he ripped that lion with his bare hands all apart. Oh my gosh, he did it. And another time, he was in an area where they were fighting the Philistines. Seems like Israel always had enemies that were trying to take over and cause trouble for them. And the Philistines were fighting him, and he took the jawbone of a donkey and killed 1,000 Philistines. That was so amazing. So amazing. And he became a judge in Israel for 20 years. Everything was going great until Samson made a big mistake. You see, he happened to go over to the area of the Philistines, and there was this beautiful woman, and he fell in love with her. And he would continually go and hang out with her. She didn't really love him back, but what she did was listen to some of the Philistine leaders. Now remember, the Philistines at that time were the enemies of Israel. And she listened to these leaders who came to her and said, hey, would you be willing to find out what the cause or what's making Samson so strong? And if we could find that out, that would be worth money to you. And as a matter of fact, each one of those leaders promised her, I'll give you 1,100 pieces of silver myself if you could find this out. That was going to be a lot of money because there were several leaders. So she was just greedy enough that she said, I'll do it. Well, Samson kept coming to see her. And she got to the point where she would say, Samson, tell me what makes you so strong. You know how girls do sometimes. Tell me what makes you so strong. Well, he didn't tell her at first. He told her something that was a lie. The first time he said, well, you know, if you take some sinew from muscle and you tie me up with it, then I would lose all my strength. So she tried that on him. And then she said, Samson, the Philistines are coming. The Philistines are coming. Well, he just broke that loose. And she realized, he's not telling the truth to me. So another time she said, oh, Samson, if you loved me, you would tell me what makes you so strong. And he said, well, truth is, if you take brand new ropes and you tie me up, I can't get loose. So she said, So when he fell asleep at her house, she tied him up with brand new ropes. But it was another lie. And when she said, Samson, the Philistines are coming, the Philistines are coming, he just broke loose again. So she was kind of getting tired of that because she wanted her money. So she said, oh, Samson, you're just not telling me the truth. And he said, okay, well, the truth is, if you weaved my hair, then that would be it. So she believed him. And another time he fell asleep at her house, and by golly, she weaved his hair. And she says, "The Philistines are coming, the Philistines are coming." And he got out of it. And she says, "Oh, you don't love me at all. I'm just not happy about this. You know how girls can do, pouting." Well, this time he told her the truth. He said, "I made a vow that I would serve God all my life. And the way that I show that is by never cutting my hair. So if I were to cut my hair, that would be going against the vow I made with God. That'd be like going against God, and I would lose all my strength. I would be just like an ordinary person." He was telling her with such sincerity, she believed him, and she knew he was telling the truth this time. So this time she called the leaders of the Philistines and said, "Next time he's at my house and he falls asleep, we're gonna cut his hair." And that's what they did. And when she didn't even have to say, "The Philistines are here, the Philistines are here," because they jumped on him, and he thought he could just fight them off, but he couldn't, because he did lose all his strength. And they captured him. And not only did they capture him, they put him in prison. And not only did they put him in prison, but they gouged his eyes out, so he was blind. He knew he had made a big mistake. It wasn't just cutting his hair, but it was cutting the vow that he made to serve God, because he wasn't serving God, he was going against that vow. So he was in prison. And the Philistines later decided, as his hair started growing back, they didn't think about that. But the truth is, he was saying to God, "I am so sorry, God. Please forgive me. That was the wrong thing to do." Now, the good thing about our God is he gives us a second chance. If you ask for forgiveness, you'll get it. Well, it turns out that the Philistines decided to have a big party. They were going to celebrate one of their false gods. And in the middle of this big party, somebody said, "Hey, let's bring Samson out, and we're gonna jeer at him. We're gonna laugh at him. We're gonna scorn him, because he used to be so strong and fight against us, but he can't do anything now." So they brought him out, and they were in this area where there were these big pillars holding the ceilings up. And the ceilings were big, heavy, made of concrete kind of stuff. And they put him between this pillar and this pillar. And they were laughing at him and scorning him, because remember, he was blind. He couldn't see anything, but he could feel those pillars. And he was praying, "Lord, let me one more time honor you. Go ahead and let me die, but let me kill these Philistines who go against you and are honoring this false god." And he pushed against those pillars. He had his strength back. And those pillars fell down. That whole building collapsed on him and all the Philistines who were there. He ended up killing more Philistines in that one move than he did the whole time he was fighting against Philistines before. Now, why do we talk about Samson? Because he did make a mistake, right? But let's think about this. We are so blessed that our God is a God of second chances. You can make a mistake. You can be a leader and make a mistake. But when you recognize that what you've done is wrong, and you go to our God and ask for forgiveness, he gives you forgiveness every time. We are so blessed. So that's the moral of the story. You could be a leader and you can make a mistake. Let's find out what Carl, TJ, and Jada think about this.
Hey there, little chicken nuggets. It's me, Carl.
And I'm Andy.
Welcome to Grow TV.
Welcome to Grow TV. Hosted by Carl, where we have fun with our friends, talk about Jesus, and go over everything the Bible has to offer. Now, once again, welcome to Grow TV!
What's up, Carl?
Oh, the usual, just living my life, busy as a bee. You know, if that bee had a full-time job and had beautiful, luscious locks. What about you, Andy? Big plans for the weekend?
I was actually gonna ask for your help because there's this big summer parade coming up and I was gonna...
A parade? Andy, you know how much I love parades.
I do?
Of course, you silly bald man. Parades are like a fancy buffet of entertainment on wheels.
So you'll help me?
Of course, what do you need? Someone flexible? Charismatic? A singer?
Well, I need someone strong.
Excuse me?
Strong. You know in parades when they have those giant big balloons floating around?
Oh yeah.
Well, I just need one more person to hold onto the rope so they don't fly away.
Well, you came to the right guy, Andy. By that time, I'll be the strongest guy around.
How's that? I've seen you break a sweat lifting up an Oreo.
In my defense, they were double stuffed Oreos, okay? Plus, I got a drink that makes me really strong.
That really works?
Well, of course, look at this.
How does that prove that it actually worked and you're actually strong?
Ye've little faith. Observe.
That thing isn't even real. Let me see. See, right, watch. Easier than that one.
Told you so. Jada!
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Pretty good. I was just telling Andy how strong I am.
Wow, is that true, Andy? Is he really strong?
Apparently.
That's great because today's story has something to do with someone who was also very strong.
Are you talking about my cousin Brock?
Nope.
I was curious because he did watch the end of Avengers like 4 times and didn't cry at all. He's super strong.
Nope. But I was talking about Samson.
Of course, I love the story of Samson. Do you remember that story, right, Andy?
You may have to jog my memory.
All right, well, this story is in Judges 16. Now, when Samson was born, his parents promised to God that their son would commit to the Nazirite vow.
Which was a promise to God, and it also meant that Samson was never supposed to cut his hair.
Carl, you didn't take the Nazirite vow, did you?
Contrary to popular belief, I have not.
So back to what you said before. Samson was really strong?
Like crazy strong, like the strongest man on the planet.
How? Did he work out a lot?
Well, it was a strength given to him by God. And as long as Samson kept the Nazirite vow and didn't cut his hair, he would have that strength.
So Samson was a good guy that always followed and listened to God?
Well, like anybody, Samson made mistakes, and he made enemies with a group of people called the Philistines.
Well, they all wanted to find out where Samson's power came from, so they went to the woman that Samson was in love with.
Delilah?
Yes, look at you, starting to remember things.
They offered money to Delilah, and in return, she would tell them how Samson got his strength.
Well, that's mean.
It was, but Samson was smart. When asked where he got his strength, he tricked Delilah 3 times.
Yep, he wouldn't tell her the truth, but eventually she got upset. She's like, you keep lying to me, like how can you love me if you don't tell me the truth?
Yikes, well what did Samson do?
He finally gave in and told her the truth, and when Samson fell asleep, she cut off all his hair.
Then the Philistines came in and took Samson to be their prisoner.
Oh, that's awful. He messed up big time.
He sure did. They took him in and placed him against the pillars of the building the Philistines were in.
And then, can you guess what Samson did next, Andy?
Did he pray?
He did pray. He cried out to God. And he asked for mercy and help to fight the Philistines now that his strength was gone.
And it happened, right?
It sure did. Even though Samson had broken rules and made mistakes, God had mercy on Samson.
And that's exactly what God will do for us. Because I know more than anyone, I've made plenty of mistakes.
Me too, and I know I'm gonna make a whole lot more mistakes in the future. But do you really think that God's gonna forgive us and help us learn from our mistakes?
Of course. That's one of my favorite things that I've been taught. God helps me learn from my mistakes.
Jada, that's our big idea! Today's big idea is God helps me learn from my mistakes.
So let's say it out loud on the count of 3. 1,
2,
3.
God helps me learn from my mistakes.
Yeah! Yes!
And I've made plenty of them, but not as much as Andy.
What?
Jada hasn't, because she's pretty much perfect. So Andy, before we head over to get ready for the parade, you wanna grab some tacos?
I don't like tacos.
Hey, Andy, can you try to hit this against her head again?
Sure. Hey, you up for some tacos?
You read my mind. See you next week, kids.
Thank you for watching, and tune in next week for a new episode of Pro TV.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Creative Corner. This is
Cabry.
and I'm Miss Kelly. We are glad you're here. Can you imagine how strong Samson had to be to knock down those columns with his bare hands? Well, I'm really glad that just like God helped Samson learn from his mistakes, God helps me learn from mine. So today we're going to create our very own balloon float design. So I'll tell you the ingredients, the items you'll need. So get yourself a construction piece of paper. Cabry, you got one?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're gonna draw a balloon on there. So go ahead and start drawing your balloon. It can be any shape. They make heart shapes, round shapes. Mine's a typical regular balloon shape. And after you draw your balloon, you're gonna pretty much decorate it. You can put stickers on it. You can draw with your crayons, markers, anything. I put things that I like on mine, like flowers, hearts, the sunshine, and the cross. But leave some space because you're gonna write a message. You're gonna have on there, God helps me learn from my mistakes. So Cabry, go ahead and write that message on there because that's the most important part. And then decorate it the rest of the way. After you finish, then you're gonna cut out your balloon. So you're gonna need some scissors to do that. And try to find a piece of string somewhere. After you cut it out, attach that string to the back side. You can use tape. And then take your balloon float and stick it somewhere in your room. Like if you have a bulletin board, that'd be a safe place to put it. Or unless Mom likes to put it somewhere like your refrigerator. And let it be there as a reminder that God helps me learn from my mistakes. Now, if you made a mistake and it's a sinful mistake, first we do need to ask forgiveness about that and ask the Lord to cleanse us. But then we can ask Him to help us learn not to do that again so we can be followers of Christ. All right, that's all for today. And always remember, like Miss Sierra says, you are a beautiful creation of God.
Week 3, take 1.
Hey Grayson, do you have any idea what today's big idea is? No, I told you twice. All I have are these balloons. Well, guess what? I told you twice to blow them up. So you better get to blowing. God helps me learn from my mistakes. Repeat after me. God helps me learn from my mistakes. See you next week. Bye.
Hello, friends. My name is Kim, and this is Kenya.
Hi, friends.
And we've got our Bibles because it's time for our memory verse. All right, so first we're going to say our verse, and then we're going to play a little game called Fill in the Blank. Ready, Kenya?
Ready.
All right. So it's Micah 6:8. All right. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. All right, good job, Kenya. So let's try it again. You can help us at home by filling in the blank. So it's Micah 6, verse 8. Correct. And what does the Lord require of you? To not run, to act justly and to love mercy and to not skip, but
Walk humbly.
Walk humbly with your God. Very good. Good job, Kenya. Good job, friends. See you next week.
Bye.
Hey friends, it's Miss Mary, and this is my daughter Lydia.
Hey.
Today was so awesome, and I love knowing that we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. And we make mistakes, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. But God teaches us to learn from those mistakes. I'm so grateful for that. Let's pray.
Dear God, thank you for understanding that we mess up sometimes. Thank you for helping us fix those messes and try to avoid from making them again. Thank you for understanding. Amen.
Amen. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Be sure to stick around for Kids News.
Bye!
It's time for Kids News
with Miss Karen,
Jakari, and JB.
Thank you guys once again for tuning in. It is summertime and we are still meeting in person. We miss you guys. So if you're ready, come on and join us. If not, no worries, we'll still be here.
Thank you for liking and sharing this YouTube link.
Don't forget to subscribe to our very own Real Rich Kids YouTube channel.
And if you would like to be a special guest here on Worshipful Kids Church, yeah, you guessed it, ask an adult to help you send an email to Miss Mary.
Creative Corner is awesome, but next week you're gonna need a huge white piece of sheet of paper. Yeah. Next week you're gonna need a huge white sheet of paper and some like a pencil or something to color with.
Right.
And if you have any prayer requests, yeah, you guessed it, ask an adult to help you send an email to Miss Mary.
And always remember, you are a leader.
We out till next week.